talk, we open doors. No filter here, no prefix line. Just real life, hearts and real life minds. Every story, every scar, show us who we really are.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Worthy Conversation. I'm your host, your boy Wade J. Get ready for a lively and joyful space where we dive right into some real life conversations. You see, this is more than just a podcast. It's a community where every voice is valued and every story is heard. You see, we will be talking about topics that resonate with our daily lives, with our shared experience and all of our insight, and a whole lot more. So go ahead, grab your favorite glass of Kool-Aid and settle in, and we're going to get this conversation started. But before we do, I'm going to let my brothers introduce themselves.
You co-host, you got to go first.
Grace and peace, God's people. I'm the preacher, Pastor Chelsey, Sins of Trinity AME Zion Church. Trinity Church is located 123 South Academy Street, Blacksburg, South Carolina. Here to give you Zion's perspective and my perspective on all things Jesus Christ and the church. You know, that's where my love is, and so I'm about that.
I'm Pastor C.T. Kirk. I pastor Sanctuary of Life Outreach Center. I'm also an educator at South Middle School in Lancaster, South Carolina, author, community activist, and just so excited to be on with my brothers today to talk about some real issues.
Welcome, guys. Welcome. And I think both of you gentlemen written books, right?
Yeah, I missed it. I missed my writing book intro and working in school, too. I missed that one, too. I didn't even include that.
So tell us about your book. Tell us a little bit about your book, Pastor Kirk.
My latest book is called Heal Now Workbook. It goes with the series Breaking the Silence. And I have recently just dove into writing books that give us the perspective of someone who is really dealing with issues that are not a lot of times preached in church, such as mental illness, such as being afraid to be vulnerable. And so putting these things out into books really helped me to help the body of Christ, those that may not even go to church, understand that with faith, with understanding of who God is, you can heal from any situation that you're currently going through.
I love it, Pastor. I love that. Thank you, Pastor Chelsey. Go ahead, tell us a little bit about your book, brother. Before we get this conversation started.
Sure. My first foray into book writing is I just came out of Hood Seminary with my master's in divinity. I wanted to put that master's to immediate use. And so my first book is called To Whom It May Concern. It's the basics of you don't have to go to school. This is how you interpret the Bible. This is how you arrive at the right conclusions. These are the things, the tools that you need. And it's just 5 simple A words that you use. You start with the address, to who's writing from, and those kinds of things. It goes into 5 different arenas about how to interpret a scripture. You use this 5-point method, you're never going to go wrong with your Bible interpretation, and you'll be able to apply it to your life, which is the most important part.
That's right. Outstanding, gentlemen. Outstanding. So, guys, audience, you see, I got somebody today in the studio with me that know a little bit about what they're talking about, guys. I got 2 pastors here. And, guys, today's topic is something near and dear to my heart. It's the challenges our younger generation face, and how did we get here? You know, the younger generation is facing challenges like never before. But how did we get here, guys? You know, and what role have we, Wade, what role have you played in shaping their reality? You know, many of us think back to our younger life, our younger days in the church. Now, you guys may not remember because it's a little bit different when I came. Some of you guys might remember youth nights. Some of you guys might remember retreats, game nights, where friendship was built and faith was nurtured. You see, those moments just didn't fill up the calendar. They helped shape who we became. But you know what? Youth events just didn't disappear overnight. They slowly faded. You know, some churches became busier with other responsibility. Some lost volunteers willing to lead youth activities, and others struggled with funding and planning consistent programs. You know, so in many places, it wasn't just one thing. It was a combination of changes. Some church became busier and focused more on programs for adults. Some youth leaders, they got burnt out just didn't have enough support. You know, in other cases, technology and social media, you know, they changed the game. And the church just couldn't adapt quick enough. So my question to us guys, we want to start this question out this way. We're going to bring it on down to the families. We're going to bring it on down to the community. We're going to, you know, and then the youth play some responsibility themselves. My goal, my mission right now, we want to help get this train back on the track. You know, our younger generation, man, there's so much violence out here. You know, there's drugs everywhere, guys. And man, some people would say we losing our generation. But guys, we got to do something. Family, we got to do something to help our younger generation. We just can't continue losing our younger generation. So what can we do? So it's raised an important question, one I want us to think about. Let me ask you this. Are we still creating spaces that truly engage and support our next generation? Are we truly creating spaces? One of my brothers, just tap into that right there, and we'll go from there, and we're going to take it on in.
You always give it to you first.
You know what? We're going to stop. At some point, we're going to stop giving it to me. So I think there are just honestly more than a couple of things that make the situation the way that it is. So there have always been, at least for as long as I can remember, correct me if I'm wrong, mega church movements. Even back in the day, there was Billy Graham. I think the difference in the mega church movement, like Billy Graham was an evangelist that came through your city, brought people in that weren't churched, and then funneled those people into churches and communities. Nowadays, the mega church movement or that evangelism movement is now captured and encapsulated in churches. So part of the thing is when the attention leaves the local church, then the funding leaves as well. So we're strapped financially. So we can't do the things that we used to be able to do. That's part of it. There's a failing of our faith. That's a part of it. We don't pray like we used to. There's 1,000 different things that happen on Facebook. And I'm not saying that, we don't pray individually, of course, but I think that as far as prayer services or how many prayer calls that you see on, any given pastor's page or church's page, you know what I mean? My church just started praying. I'm taking accountability. We just started praying every weekday morning, the last week of Lent. Lent brought us back to that focus. You know what I mean? And so when there's no prayer, there's no power. Right. We know how it goes. And when grandma left, as people died during COVID, as older people stopped being able to move around, and as we got into a more global economy, the smaller churches are going to lose out in some of their impact and some of their funding. So you just have to have the kind of clever, intelligent approach to it, like Pastor CT does, to where you can figure it out with prayer and faith. So, yeah. I mean, tell us how you
before
do
you
it.
Jump in there, I love that. That's great. But that was a great segue for me to say this. I think Pastor Kirk got a great system already formulated. And that was one reason why I wanted him to sit on this platform today, because he already got a great system formulated. So guys, those of you in the ministry, as far as when we talk about the ministry part of this topic, he already have a good platform. So can't we just tap into that platform and dive into it, and we just keep building on it? The Bible tells us iron sharpens iron, so one brother sharp the countenance of a friend. He already got the format laid out. He do so much. I see him doing stuff in school. But go ahead, Pastor. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, brother. Tap into that.
Oh, you're good. To piggyback on what my brother said, I think that one of the differences that we see in our modern time is we don't see pastors who are a part of the communities in which they preach into. A lot of pastors transport themselves into churches, and when you don't live in the community, you can't hear the heart of the community or know what's going on. If you don't know the mayor, if you don't know the police chief, if you don't know those who are in the community, it's going to be hard to tap into the need of the community because you're just coming in for a Sunday. You may just be coming in for a Bible study. And so, and not to say you can't care about that community, but your heart is going to be primarily where you live at. Back in the 60s and 70s, pastors would move into the communities that they were going to pastor in. If they lived out of town, they would move into, and it wasn't a lot of commuting into churches. It was more or less we were planted there, and this is where we're going to serve. And I think we've got to get back to pastors being servant pastors so that you can know what is going on in the community, so that way you could tap into the resources and the center of the community. And so I think that moves the needle. I remember going down to Montgomery and witnessing the house where Dr. King stayed.
Wow.
He was only a couple blocks away from his church in that community. And so because he was in that community, he was able to serve that community. And when we see, because as pastors, we're the first servants. All right, if I don't know the crime rate in the city that I'm in, I'm not going to fight that.
Right.
If I don't know the teen pregnancy rate in the community that I'm serving, I'm not going to fight against that. And so because I am in a community, I understand what goes on in the community. I know the parent of the child that has been murdered, being able to go to the wake, being able to go by that house, even those are not members, but being able to show, hey, the body of Christ still is praying for you.
Wow.
That there are people still connected to your life. And because of that, we are able to get the youth excited and involved in our local church, because I had to say, okay, what is going on in my community?
Wow. That's amazing, brother. I like that. You know, and I think about the times when I was coming up, you know, where are these people now in our community? You know, I think about when I was growing up down at Uphold Station Baptist Church, how the preacher would set me and some more of the guys down. He said, listen, guys, you're going to need to know how to make a motion one day. You're going to know how to be able to carry a motion. So I want to set you down right now and teach you how to do that. And would you believe 50 years later, I still remember that? Mm-hmm. The old deacons in the church would teach me how to raise a hymn. Old mother said, hey, on the fourth Sunday, you got to get up there and do prayer service and pray. What do we do? What do we do? What can we do? Because we need those things back. Mm-hmm. We need that teaching back. You know, I could walk down the street in my neighborhood. If I do something bad, Aunt Susie Bell and Aunt May,
right,
they may get you. When you get home, you're going to get it again.
Absolutely.
Now, can we approach a young kid now and say, hey, man, that's not right.
You better
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You better not approach him.
The first thing about it is, and this will probably make Jamie jump right here, is that the first thing that we did when we started becoming economically savvy and stable, we felt like we needed to move out of our communities and approach ourselves with our Caucasian brothers and sisters. And the same thing we're seeing in the local church. When we start getting money, it is no longer beneficial to stay at a local church that does not show my economical savviness. And so I need to go to a church that has the daycare, that has the media specialist, that has all the smoke and bells and whistles in order for me to feel like I have arrived. And it is because of that mindset, and we're moving out of these communities. No, these children are not going to listen to us because they don't know us. We don't know them. We're in a whole different community that didn't want us there in the first place, and we neglected grandmamas in the community, whereas we could have built a $300,000 house on that land. We said, no, let me go across town because across town looks more beneficial. And you're seeing this now even with the local church, as my brother stated. Everybody's taking their money out of the local church, and then when drama comes, hey, local church, save me. Mm-hmm. We don't go knock on the doors of a mega ministry and say, I need your help. I get inboxes. Majority of my inboxes come from people that have never went to my church. Many of the programs of free stuff are people that will never come to our church. In fact, I sat back there one time with a sister. I say, watch how many people say, oh, man, Pastor Kirk, I ain't know you was over here. I got to come by your church. She counted over 60 people. Those 60 people still haven't showed up yet. And so it is because we have deteriorated the neighborhood and the commonwealth. Whenever we look at history, we always saw African Americans thrive when we were community. And now that we have been set apart by money and fitting into systems and being able to get political power and all of this, now it is not a custom or cute anymore just to be an African American helping your community. Now it's about, let me show you everything that I have, and rather than let me share with you so that you can be on the same level that I am.
Wow. You know, now since we know this and have a better understanding on what happened and how did it happen, now we have to build those places and spaces, and we got to move forward. You see, one may ask, is it too late? But no, it's never too late when Jesus is in the equation. Because with God, you see, all things are possible. However, everybody cannot be all about themselves. There's too many me's mentalities and too many of the I's mentality. Hey guys, we have to work together.
Hey, absolutely not too late, because there's never a time where it's too late for God.
Right.
God being inside of a situation changes everything that the situation is going to be. So it's never, absolutely never too late. But there is no time like the present. We have to redirect our focus. We have to change, and we have to repent. You know,
Wow.
even though Pastor Kirk has given us some phenomenal tools and some phenomenal, real concrete things that we can deal with. But we also want to add that spiritual element as well.
Right.
We have gotten away from, with our leaving of the communities, we've gotten away from the practice of love. And so we have to get back to that. We have to get back to the community being enough, to my brothers and my sisters being successful, and successful being in the gospel, committed to a life of salvation and going to heaven. That has to be enough for us. We can no longer, be satisfied with stuff. Right. And certainly not in no other community, because we see where that's leading us, where he just told us is leading us. Wow. So because Bible tells us very clearly that if my people that are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. Amen. We can do this thing if we simply get back to God.
Yeah, I do agree. One can chase 1,000, two can chase 10,000.
Yeah.
So in essence, what it's saying, if we team up and try to do something together, we can accomplish something. We can accomplish more together than we can separate or individually. You know, and I do agree. A lot of the young people have become so distracted with social media. You know, so I know the church got to catch up with this social media, because that we got to deal with it. Mm-hmm. We got to deal with it, brothers.
Yeah. I'm working on an app right now that's going to just turbo launch pastors into this 21st century. We can use AI, we can use agentic models, and that will help us to quickly move with small teams, with just a few people, with just a small amount of resources. We're in a very unique age to where you can still have global impact in a small place if we just work with the things that we're given, and not be afraid to challenge and try something new, to recognize and realize that Jesus was always on the cutting edge of ministry. Wow. And start doing the kinds of things that the world is doing, and use those worldly tools in a godly way. There's nothing wrong with the tool. Right. It's wrong with the person that's using the tool, and the heart of the person using the tool.
Amen. Let's talk about safe spaces. You know, places our youth can go and maybe play a game of basketball, guys, or hang out and feel safe. Now, I know too many times, I know what you're going to say. All they're going to do is tear up the place and hurt each other. But if we're honest with ourselves, there aren't many places that our youth can go. Really. So, have we given up on those safe spaces, or we just using them for an excuse? Come on, let's talk about it.
I think the thing is, our parents are not invested in safe spaces. If right now we launched a trail ride, we could get 300 or 400 parents to come out in boots, to come out in cowboy hats, a culture that they never experienced until I wrote the book, How the West Was Whitewashed. You know, I didn't get no credit for that, Jamie, but I wrote the book that was challenging the roots in our Western heritage. But now we see that fun times are parent relatable. You have 40 and 50-year-olds that want to go back and recapture their 20s and 30s. And so when there are safe spaces for our youth, those things get passed over. But when there become things for entertainment, and this is how I know I can go to a football game and see every parent that I cannot get into a parent-teacher conference.
Yes, sir.
If, in fact, if they gave us desks and let us sit out there in the game, we could have every report card lined up on the table and say, this is your child, felon. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're here. Let's have an opportunity to talk. Until our parents are excited about their youth, then you can have any program and any event you want to have, and the youth are not going to come to those things. Why? Because unbeknownst to us, our youth are not on Facebook. Facebook has been considered now a old person's
Yes.
platform.
Yes.
They're on the Snapchat. They're on these, so they don't see half the stuff we're posting. And I'm glad, because we're embarrassing ourselves every day on Facebook trying to be young. And so our young people, I didn't see that. And so what I did was, I didn't realize I could do this, but my Facebook is plugged to my Instagram. So my kids come in the classroom, hey, I saw you on this. I saw you in this. Okay, now I can minister because I know where you're watching me at.
Yeah.
So now I can bring this technology and these things to you. And so I think that our parents got to be excited about our youth. You never would have got the youth lockup on by yourself. Right. If not, your mama said, hey, you going to youth lockup. I don't want to go there. I want to go. No, you going to youth lockup.
Yes.
And then you had a good experience like, I'm glad you brought me here.
Yes.
And so we need parents that much invested to say, you know what, I don't care about your crying and complaining. Yeah. My children don't have a choice. Right. When you turn 18, you got all the choices you want. But right now, everything our youth doing, you're going to be there.
Wow. Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Pastor Chelsey, you brought up a good point when you said about the love, and I might be jumping forward for what I had in mind. You talked about there's not enough love anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, so many times I ask the young kids, the young 14, 15, 16-year-olds, hey, man, what's going on? Why is this violence happening in the world today? And I know a lot of stuff is mental health that we don't talk about, but the young kids, if you talk to them about mental health, they'll talk with you about it. But we as parents, we got to be willing to deal with the mental health aspect of the situation. And, you know, when we talk about these violence, where, you know, what the reality is, there's drugs. The kids are taking drugs to stay awake, drugs to cope, drugs to do this, drugs to do that. You know, but so many times I asked them, I was like, hey, man, what can we do to help you guys? What can we say? They say, Mr. Young, I don't know. I said, well, why is all this violence happening? Man, I don't know, Mr. Young. I said, well, who can I ask then? You know, who can I ask? But there's no love. Yeah. There's no respect. Yeah. You know, if we had more love, we can change some things, parents, kids, but we need more love for one another. We need more love and respect for our brothers and our sisters. God, let's talk about that love. Can we deal with that a little bit? Mm-hmm. I mean, I had in mind to go somewhere else. Yeah. But that love thing, when you said love, it kept resonating in my spirit. You know, I know we require to have the agape love, but I think we could just have some filial love for our friends, man.
Yeah, some brotherly love.
I mean, we could change some things. We just had that kind of love. Mm-hmm. I used to hear my dad praying all the time on his knees at night, give us that love that run from heart to heart, soul to soul. And I was trying to figure out, man, what are you talking about, that love? He was talking about agape love, man. You know, the love for one another, love for our brothers and our sisters. Let's deal with it one time. Let's just deal with it. We here. Yeah. Let's deal with it, guys.
Yeah. I think part of the problem is we want to conquer the world because the world is accessible to us. With the web, with the internet, with social media, the way that it is, we want to be able to have global influence. But even when Jesus, and I believe Jesus is the perfect model for leadership, even Jesus's approach was not tackle all of Rome. Jesus's approach was not address hundreds of thousands. He literally spent most of the time baby teaching when he talked to thousands and really didn't delve into any deep concepts. But he dealt with the 2 or 3 that he had. 2 or 3 that he would take with him into the secret places, and 12 that he would take with him, you know, into different spaces. And when we are content with working with what we have to get have the effect of the kind of change that we want to have. I think a lot of people, and I know I've been guilty of this early on in my ministry, I don't have $1,000 budget. I don't have 10 people on staff. I have 4 volunteers that have to go to work at 8:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? We can't do 100 things tonight, but just being okay with, listen, it ain't going to be all things in order. It ain't going to look beautiful and humongous. It ain't going to be no global impact. But if I can be okay with just touching 2 or 3, can I get to a kid today? Can I go into that school today and affect a single child's life? And that is the love message. Can I go for 1 sheep? Can I forget about 99 and forget about a large lens and a wide focus? And can I just find somebody to change? Can I reach out and touch somebody body's hand, a singular hand, and make this world a better place.
Wow.
I think when you said that, it just reminded me that today we have to reprogram the mindset of church people. That people are not just coming to church because it's Sunday anymore,
Wow.
or because they have roots in church. That if you don't show forth love, if you don't bend on some of the traditions that you hold so dearly, you're going to lose an opportunity to catch a fish.
Wow.
That you cannot no longer condemn somebody for wearing a hat in church because that's how you were raised. But being excited that that soul came to church to hear a word. Yeah. And so we have to teach them how to belong, because if you belong, then I can believe. And if I believe, then you've got me. And so many times we're looking for what love looks like in our own eyes. Me and Chelsey are a part of fraternities, and I've never seen so much demonic things thrown at fraternities.
Come on.
I know when Kamala ran for president, that's when you start hearing, I renounce, I renounce, I renounce. And so the charge is more against the fraternities than the kids that are in gangs. You don't see people going live with, we need to renounce from the Bloods or the Crips, but they go out to the Kappas or the Sigmas. The people who are in the communities that are giving it their time, talent, their money to help our community, that's becoming negative. But those who are terrorizing older people and people not feeling safe in their houses, we're not jumping on those issues because love has taken a different look for us now. So we love to be right and not to be spiritual. Whereas Jesus went out to do the work and still was condemned by the religious people.
Go ahead and cook. Go ahead and cook.
He was condemned for looking at a woman who was about to be stoned, and when he said, well, what about your sin? Everybody scattered because that wasn't important to them in that moment, as it was getting what they called the love of justice. And I think that when we start getting back to the true love covers a multitude of sin. Yeah. Love is the ability to say, okay, I see the need more than I see my personal wants. And until we get back to that word love, then we're going to be hitting and missing, because people are coming to our churches, but still we're not showing any love. So we got to train that usher how to smile, even though you don't walk down that aisle and offer people fans, but they said no the first time, but the second time they was hot. We got to train that daycare person to love the kid that has is on the spectrum and maybe running around and maybe destroying stuff. We got to go in and be able to teach those people how to get trained to deal with those kids, because those kids are connected to the parents. And one thing that I learned is if you get our young people excited, then our parents are going to be excited, because those young people are going to be like, I want to go to church. Yes. We have kids crying, I don't want to go home. I don't want to go. I said, you better bring them back or you'll be a bad parent.
That's right.
And so until we get back to that heart of love and what love really is, we're going to be hitting and missing.
Man, that's amazing. Well, you cooking, man. You cooking. Yeah. That's a whole meal right there. That's a whole meal. Parents, we got to deal with this thing called love. We got to deal with it. It's all right, neighbors. It's all right, village, to go get little Billy and pull him to the side and just tell him you love him. You know, when he acting bad, just do something, and right there they'll see more love. But I see more. And parents, I'm not jumping on anybody. I'm just talking. It's just basically my opinion. You can't cuss little Jimmy out and while you discipline him and think he gonna gain some insight. You think he's gonna learn. He's not gonna learn like that. Yeah. He gonna learn what you saying to him. And the way you saying to him, he gonna think that's right.
Yeah, I would think about 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. In Stephen Covey's book, he talks about how we'll say our family is the most important thing to us, but then we'll work 80 hours a week. Yeah. And we're working the 80 hours a week to take care of the family that we say that we love, instead of cutting the work we can have and then actually spending time with that family. If we are not careful, if we are not intentional, what we think is at our hearts won't actually be there. This is why the Bible commands us that when you approach the communion table, that you have to detect your shortcomings and recognize your own condition. You have to look inwardly and really challenge yourself to question it and see, am I where I really think that I am? Am I really about love the way that I say that I am? Mm-hmm. Or am I doing what Pastor said? Am I thinking I'm about love when I'm really caring about moving out and keeping up with the Joneses.
Yes.
Or trying to get status with people.
Bro, you cooking now.
and
You
where
cooking.
I'm at, where am I really? You know what I mean? And honestly, something you said off air, iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
So if I don't have my brother to reach out to, if I don't have my brother to reach out to, if I don't have a sister that I can connect with, then we have these silos of church now to where you're unconnected to anybody. No one can tell you anything. You have your own theology that's not based in any real biblical truth, and you're out here, preaching itching ears and making people appeal to whatever you trying to say. There's just smoothness sounding right instead of really having some accountability and somebody that you can go to and say, hey, man, that ain't right, or get that together,
Let's look at the constructions of the church. Acts, in the book of Acts, you had a community of people that lived together, that shared what we call that socialism now. They shared everything that they had to make sure that everybody was encouraged. Well, now you see people within the four walls of a church that get titles more so than responsibilities. And so because my title dictates this to me, that I'm only operating within that title and not in the constraints of I'm a community. Because if I'm a community, then I care about the needs of my brother or my sister. I care if this lady in my church doesn't have a fatherly figure for her children. And I'm not trying to mess with her. I'm concerned about those kids growing up without any male influence or anybody to tell them right or wrong. And so I don't have that connection anymore because I took the title that you gave me, and that made me feel good about myself because I didn't realize that I had low self-esteem myself.
Wow.
And that I needed this title to further vindicate who I was. So I feel good when you call me bishop. I feel good when you call me pastor, even though I'm not falling under what the title suggests.
Right.
But I feel good about it now. And so I can't be creative because all I'm thinking about is how these things build me up and how they personally make me feel good. Because the easiest way for any church to grow and be successful is to go to one place where all young people gotta go.
Wow.
And that's school.
Yes. Yeah.
You see our Caucasian brothers and sisters adopt schools. This is our school. We're going to take care of the teachers. We're going to take care of the students. Let us know what they need. And here we can have a church right beside a school and still don't open it up for school or go out there and support the school. So if we're sitting right here, because the thing about it is if you want sheep, you got to go out there.
Yes, sir.
I don't send out a street team. I'm a part of that street team.
Yes.
I want to be out there too. Why? Because if we're going to, and I remember about 5 years ago, probably 5 years, 10 years ago, I was preaching a sermon. I said, boots on the ground. I didn't know it was going to become a popular song that everybody was doing. See, James, a lot of this stuff I didn't even know I was tapping into. I should have trademarked a lot of stuff. And I was talking about the need of going outside of the pulpit. They need to see us clean up trash. They need to see us because a lot of older people only have one image of the preacher. When he wasn't preaching, he was at the dinner table eating the best piece of chicken. Well, now we need a mobile preacher that goes out into the community that cares, that lead these things that are going on. This is why we revel Dr. King, because he was on the front lines. He wouldn't say, y'all go out there and march. No, let me go out there and march with you. And until we get to that point, that real love and that Jesus mentality, because truth of the matter is we preach Jesus, but we're not ready for Jesus' ministry. We're not ready for a mobile ministry that the time that he went to the church, he showed out so bad that they was literally wanting to put him out. That he told the Pharisees and Sadducees, listen, all the stuff y'all believing is not going to move any needles, not going to move anything, because y'all arguing over how to get things done rather than just do it. And we got to be the churches that just do a thing and not sit up there. Because I tell my city all the time, if y'all waiting on the NFL player to come save you, you're going to be waiting on another 100 years. Yeah. We football city USA, but we ain't got no streets named after no football players. There's no housing communities. There's no strip malls. There's no stores. We waiting on them to come back and save us, and they gone. And their resources are going with them. Yes. Let's start impacting our own community by believing in ourselves.
Well said, brothers. Well said. Let me ask you guys, do you think the older generation, are we judging our young people too harshly?
Yes. I think you are. No.
He had like he was part of the older generation, right?
Y'all is.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Let me get in my young boy.
Go ahead. That's what I want. Because
Yeah. I think what a generation. There's a generational gap where our parents act like their parents understood. And they did not. You know what I mean? There was no need to argue. Parents just don't understand. There was the Fresh Prince in that whole perspective. And I think we got to the point now to where we expect parents to understand, and nowadays people who ain't even parents have all of the things to say about what young people do. I had in my own church, I witnessed what Pastor talked about. Somebody came in with a hat on, and rather than paying attention to the fact that this was a real street dude coming into the church, they were more focused on the fact that he had a hat on. But those things happened in the community when you were young, when someone had the ability to tell you something. These people are adults now. You don't have no space to be telling nobody to take no hat off, and they are an adult like you are. Like, you can't. We got to give them a break. I mean, I saw somebody talking about how they were. I can't remember what them kids was doing. Oh, they had shouting videos on TikTok. You seen these? Where the babies are, they all the church kids is doing all the shouting on their videos or whatever. She's like, they practicing. We didn't practice. Like, why they practice? I'm like, man, they in church. Give them a break. Yeah. Give them a break, man. We got to give these kids a break because a lot of them are trying and they're taking the first steps and they're coming out of the boat like Peter did coming to where Jesus is, and they're having failures of their faith. But instead of us being like Jesus and eventually grabbing them and pulling them up out of the water and helping them stand on the water, bringing them back to the ark of safety in the boat, we will let them drown and point to them and tell them how they messed it up.
Wow.
I think, too.
Go ahead, Jamie.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think, too, like...
Grab your mic, Jamie. You got your mic?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Got it in there.
On top of what he's saying about the hat situation, the urgency is different. So it don't make sense to be focusing on no hat right now. Like,
yeah, I agree.
In those, it might have made sense back in the day when you had a greater sense of community and you're gonna keep seeing the kid, or you're gonna keep seeing the person,
exactly.
And you kind of more of like depositing into somebody's life over and over again. But if I just came to your church, like that happened to me maybe several years ago. I went to watch a sister-in-law get baptized or something like that. And I had never been to the church. And I had my beanie on. And I was just chilling. And they came. First thing he said, hey, I'm gonna have to ask you to take your hat off in the church. And I was like, yeah, nah, my hair is kind of messy right now. I got it on for a reason. I said, I understand, but nah, I'd rather not take it off. Nah, I'm gonna need you to take it off. Man, I'd rather not take it off. So he went and got another guy. The other guy came, hey, man, step outside with me. And I'm like, if people were that invested in making sure they reach somebody, think of how much more successful churches would be, I guess.
Yeah, it's like asking somebody who is bleeding to walk in the hallway.
I bleed on my carpet. Don't you bleed on my carpet?
Yeah, you know what I'm
I like
saying?
that.
Like, come on, man. Let us patch up our communities first.
So that's not saying then that it's over judgmental, because judging to me is a symbol that I'm saying somebody's going to hell for an act. I say over critical. And I don't think that we're any more critical than they were in the 60s, the 70s, or the 80s. I think it's just our time now to be those that criticize. I find myself a lot of times saying, well, back in my day, we wouldn't have did this. And I'm telling my kid back, I couldn't get away with that back in the day. And I think that some of that becomes because this new generation is being the stereotype that people need to further hold us back as a people. I look at things through a historical lens. If people want us to look thuggish, the first thing they put on social media is two black girls fighting, two black boys fighting. No matter how many Hispanic fights go on, you don't see those. Yeah. You don't see a lot of the white fights going on. And so I look at this thing systematically as a destruction of who we are as a people. Why? Because we've had now an African-American president. We've had now an African-American vice president. And so what better way to hold us down than to challenge the construction of our culture? Man. We were a people of excellence. We were a people of community. And so the best way to destroy that is to disrupt. Now, okay, because Kamala was promoting the D9, that's demonic. Let's go after that. Because we're promoting black men and being excellent, that's now go after this and let's post the thug and say, okay, you're being judged for being a thug, but really I'm trying to tell you something as a father that will stop you from going to prison. because I cannot be able to invest anything. We're looking beyond the hat, but I'm not going to look beyond the fact that you're selling fentanyl to a single mother who's trying to raise her kids. I can't look beyond the fact that you're talking disrespectful to your teacher, not realizing that is your gateway to success.
Wow.
That now they're making it now. If you don't at least have an associate's degree, some of the jobs that you may want, you're not being able to get. And I think that when we start putting the word judgment on people, then the first thing we're telling these young people is, I can't say anything to you. Whereas there are certain things that I can criticize you on, but then certain things that I see, I'm not going to major in the minor or minor in the major, but I'm going to sit there and say, okay, the hat's not important. If you come in with your pants down, you come in with your pants down until you learn who Jesus Christ is. Then you may be able to pull your pants up, or until I'm in a position where I can mentor you and tell you, okay, pants down represents this in slavery. Pants down represent this in jail. Now when they see us, they connect us to the thug, the this, the that. Whereas a 46-year-old man, the first thing I know you lose as you get older is butt. So why am I going to walk around flat-butted with my pants off my hips, symbolizing that and being able to talk those through? So when my students understand breaking the bulk, the system of slavery and how pants pour down what meant this, or in the jail pipeline with pants moved down, now they got an understanding. But I built a relationship so I could share those things with them to be able to say, hey, listen, you're representing the culture now. I'm phasing out. Now it's your time to step up, and you've got to be able to do those things, because I miss preachers like Gilbert Patterson. G.E. Patterson, who said, you know what, I'm not going to judge you, but I'm going to show you how to get to Jesus Christ and love him for yourself. Now we are reduced to preachers that get up and talk political so much that you can't even hear the gospel.
That's and I think he said something that was very, very important there. He built a relationship,
Yeah.
and then you get the ear.
Yeah.
Like, you can't command the ear if you're
Wow.
not building a relationship.
That's good.
Exactly.
Because I don't know that you actually care for me. Like,
That's
I
right.
don't know that you want the best for me. If you just putting out rules and putting out standards, then I'm like, I don't know who you are. Like, who are you? Do you know me? Do you care for me? Like, I might listen to you if I know, like, even if it's hard, even if it's something hard to hear, I might listen to you if I know, okay, this guy really cares. Like, he came to this. I saw him there. He been checking on me and all that stuff. Okay, I give it a shot. Versus, the first time I see you, hey, bro,
Take your
remove
head
the hat. Yeah. It's like, who are you?
Yeah. Hey guys, the voice that you're hearing behind the camera is our engineer for today. None other than my good friend of mine. I call him my nephew, Jamie Brown. He's outstanding young man. I just want to let you know, all know who the voice is behind the camera. With his input, I told him anytime he feel like jumping in, make sure he jump in. He don't have a camera today because he's working the camera for us guys. But one uncomfortable truth is that many young people feel lost and overwhelmed by choices and expectations. I'm advocating for the kids, the youth, because they're near and dear to my heart. But I'm also advocating for the parents. Parents, we got to be more accountable. Young people, we got to be more to lend in that listening ear. Like the pastor said, parents, go to the school and check on your kids. So many times you fuss about this, you argue about that, but what are you doing? I understand that most people working 12-hour shifts. I know when it was just 8-hour shift, we could do more. We could, we had more time to spend at home with little Jimmy, Billy Bob, But make sure, if you're working a 12-hour shift, make sure at 4 o'clock when little Billy get home, make sure there's somebody there, an adult there. He can go to grandmama house, uncle, somebody's house, and so he can be, taught what to do and what not to do. Because if he's out in the street to 1 o'clock at night, guys, there ain't no but trouble out there. And I'm talking to my young generation. I know you're going to see this because I'm definitely going to load this to Instagram. So, because I know where you at. I know you're not on Facebook because the pastor already told me you ain't on Facebook.
You ain't on that.
Yeah.
You ain't on Facebook. You on TikTok. So, anyway, guys, but they need to be told that they can achieve anything. The young people need to be told and taught. And I know, Pastor, because I see you so many times, Pastor C.T. Kirk. I see what you do. I see you with the kids. I see you put on an outfit just to reach them because And I think that's the way the church got to go, because it takes something a little different. Their learning is a little bit different now. It takes a little more something different to reach them now. And I think we as the church, and I think you had on you put on whatever time or money that's something happening, you would put on an outfit just to get their attention. And those kids, I hear how they be gravitating to it and loving it. I think the church got to reach out to some things. We got to change the way we do it inside the church.
Yeah.
I think we just got to change the way we do it in church. Church, we live, it's 2026. The old way ain't working no more. And I tell so many people, I remember Tom Landry. I love football. Dallas Cowboy. Tom Landry, one of the greatest coaches that I know. But
y'all don't like nothing.
But here what happened. Tom Landry, the old stuff he was doing, it stopped working
no more. Yeah.
It stopped working.
Yeah.
That didn't mean he wasn't still a great coach. He just forgot to change. He didn't change. And so it kind of got left behind. And in churches, this is what I want to tell you guys. If we don't change, we're going to get left behind. Because there are some kids out there seeking the truth.
Yeah.
And we can't give them any old thing no more. Mama used to tell me I couldn't play basketball on Sunday, and I was freaked out because I couldn't play basketball on Sunday. And she would catch me playing basketball. She was like, now, that's a sin to play basketball on Sunday. So for all of my youth life, I was like,
nasty word.
Man, I was scared to play basketball till I grew up. Then I started playing basketball on Sunday, or whatever day it was of the week. But anyway, you can't just. They help me, but you just can't tell the young kids anything anymore. You got to give them some substance, because they're gonna go and check it. They're gonna go back and search it and see if you're telling them the truth or not. So we got to give them some. We got to give them some. We just can't give them milk all the time. We got to give them some meat too.
Yeah, we have to challenge ourselves to grow.
Yes,
we have to challenge ourselves to continue our education. There's no job on the planet that you can just learn how to do it, continue to make considerably more money at it, progressively make more money while not learning anymore. You know what I mean? If they're going to give you a raise, they're going to give you a raise because you're educating yourself, because you're learning more about what they do or what the company is all about. And salvation is no different.
Wow.
We have to educate ourselves on the things of God. We have to educate ourselves on the Bible. We have to spend time in the Word. Because if you don't have no basis or no foundation, where are you going from there? What are you standing on?
That's right.
Guys, before we close tonight, if you could tell the younger generation one brutal, honest truth about life, and I give you a minute to think about it, what would that be? If you could just tell them, what I would do, I would say, guys, I'm going to be honest with you, life will not always be fair. Success don't happen overnight. A lot of stuff you see on the social media, those people have gone through some struggles that they're not telling you about, the struggles that they went through.
Yeah.
Failure and rejection are part of the journey. You might fall sometime, but get back up, dust yourself off, try again.
The Philadelphia 76ers had this whole philosophy for a long period of time. They were telling the team and they were telling the fans, trust the process. We're telling the fans, invest in coming to see the games, even though the team's not any good. Come and put your money involved in it. Give your effort and your time, even though there's no sign of it working. And farmers for thousands of years have planted seed in season where they didn't see it.
That's right.
They've put things in the ground and they work that ground every single day without it showing any signs of growth or anything developing. Similarly, God uses seed in our lives, and we have to trust his process. The Bible tells us that he knows the thoughts that he has for us, plans of good and not of evil, to bring us to an expected end. He's going to grow us into the tree, but we have to be comfortable in the process. And a lot of times we will get out of the pot, and the pot is designed to make us strong. The pot is designed to grow us. The pot is designed to transform us into what God intends for us to be. So we have to endure hardship with the understanding that this process is producing something in my life. You got to trust God's process.
I always speak to the young people in this format in my classroom. And even though I do a lot of fun things, I dedicate those 3 or 4 minutes of just really empowerment talking. And I would tell a kid in a moment, if you're acting up or you're getting in a lot of trouble, I'll look them right in the eyes. And I've said it in front of the principals. I said it in front of parents. I said to the parents, I told your child, you don't love your mom. Because if your mom is working hard or your dad's working hard and they have to deal with your issues, my mama didn't have to get off work to deal with my issue. I learned how to behave, and I tell them right there in their eyes, you don't love your mother. And the Bible supports it, that a foolish son will break his mother. A daughter that is misbehaving, because at the end of the day, no matter how many friends a young person thinks they have, when you get in trouble, it is the mother and the father that comes down to the prison. It is the mother and the father that you move in with to take care of your baby. It is the mother and father that put houses up so that you can have bail money, not the friend. So I would tell young people this, pick your friends wisely. Understand that being cool is only seasonal and it's trendy and it's based on style. But at the end of the day, the older you get, the more you have pleasure in the simple things.
Wow.
I'm 46 years old now. Don't think about clubbing. Don't think about. I like going home and getting in the garden. Wow. I like cutting grass. I like going home and celebrating with the wife and the kids. The simple things are what matters. And young people spend their whole youth trying to find the simple things and then get old and say, I already had it. I had people that loved me. I had people that supported me. I had people that will give the shirt off my back. One thing that I will say about the church, and the reason why I always will fight for the church is probably one of the only organizations that I know where people will invest for someone else who may not be as invested. That if your cousin never went to this church, he can still have a funeral at this church. A preacher that don't even know your cousin will show up because they love you and preach your cousin's funeral. That someone that may not even be blood kin to you will loan you their car or help you to pay a bill. That when you can't go to a bank, you can go to a church, and a church will help you with the light bill, even though they know you're not going to pay the money back. So I would tell these young people this all the time. You need church. Your mom and daddy might not, but you need church. Why? Because the percentages show that children that have a spiritual foundation are least likely to be robbing stores, to be selling fentanyl, to be suicidal, and to be in gangs and murdering people. So the statistics do support the balance that you see now, that you have now, because you were raised up in a church with a grandmama that didn't have nothing. But she had faith that if I just get you here, you're going to be something better. And even though you may have made some mistakes along the way, the Bible even supports that. Hey, and it's not a guarantee when it says train up a child in the way it should go. It is saying this: a child has a better opportunity to thrive if you train them in that which is right.
Beautiful.
Wow. And so I always tell kids, choose your friends wisely.
Yes.
I would rather hang around 5 nerds than 25 popular kids who are going down the wrong road.
Yes, sir. Yes, outstanding. Guys, you heard it right here. Worthy conversation. This is part 1 of this episode, but there will be part 2, because what we're going to do with part 2 is that we're going to give you an opportunity to comment and ask questions. So we're going to take the question that you ask, and we're going to try to deep dive into them as well. But listen, we need you to go on, subscribe, like, and share, and also comment. This your boy Wade J, and you a Worthy Conversation. Like I always say, guys, keep on believing. For faith is the substance of things hoped for, and it is the evidence of things not seen. By it, the elders obtain a good report, and you can too, my brothers and sisters. So you just keep on believing. Hey, this your boy Wade J, co-host Chelsey Sims, co-host CT Kirk, Pastor CT Kirk. Hey, guys, we out of here. Be blessed.